I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, you know? I mean, it's bad that that bullshit works actually. That's a bad thing, I think. Hi guys, and welcome back to another GameDev Answers video. My name is Marcus and I'm a solo game developer currently working on my game Raidborn, which is a first-person sandbox action RPG. If you're interested in it, just check out my other videos to find out more about it. So today's topic, as you most likely already know if you read the title, are DLCs and whether they make sense or not, if they're good for players, what developers think about it, what I think about it as an indie developer, and much more. So the first thing we should talk about is what kind of DLCs are there actually? Because I think that will ultimately be the important question: what content does the DLC offer? But first, let's take a look at the different kinds of DLCs or add-ons or expansions there are. So let's start from very low content to higher content. So I think the thing with the least benefit for the player are skins or separate weapons you can buy in, for example, free-to-play games, or nowadays unfortunately also in full-price games. But what is more interesting are additional features. So if you buy something like a Blood DLC, actually there was a Blood DLC for Total War, for a few of the Total War games, if you know them, and they had a Blood DLC, so you could just purchase that and then you had blood in the game or more bloody combat. And yeah, that are the second type of DLCs or additional content. And the next thing would be new maps or scenarios, or even a new faction for a real-time strategy game, stuff like that, or like map packs for Call of Duty, stuff like that. I think that at least adds some more playtime to the game. That is a little bit better than, like, for example, skins or stuff like that. And what mostly is considered as an actual add-on is if you add new content and missions, which is the next type of DLCs or add-ons there is, which I don't have to explain much. I mean, for example, for Skyrim, the Dragonborn DLC, stuff like that would really adds new content, a new world, and that is what most people actually want most of the time. And the last thing, not to forget, are standalone expansions actually, which normally are a little bit more, you have even more new content than normal add-ons. Okay, let's come to the interesting part, which is what does this look like from a gamer's perspective? Mostly this is a very difficult subject, but the funny thing is that people buy DLCs, people even buy skins, people buy additional features. I bought that Blood DLC because it was cool. It does work. That's the first thing we have to make clear here. So generally most of the players say they want larger expansions and they want that, but I have to admit that actually I had fun buying those smaller things as well if they're not too overpriced. So if you pay $1 or something for a new commander in Company of Heroes, yeah, it's totally just money printing and it could have been in the game without being a DLC, but it is kind of fun that it is like you just don't have everything, you can buy additional stuff. It has some kind of, I don't know, hard to explain, but it was actually fun and I do not regret buying those commanders. And that's, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, you know? I mean, it's bad that that bullshit works actually. That's a bad thing, I think. But I think ultimately what you can say is that it depends really on the value you get for the price. And that's something that applies to nearly everything you can buy, and the same goes for DLCs. And just to give an example here of a very, very good add-on, expansion, DLC, whatever you want to call it, and that is for the game Gothic 2: The Night of the Raven, which is officially nearly one of the best add-ons ever made, because what it does is it integrates into the main game, into the main storyline, and also adds an additional new island, new quests, a new world, a little bit like Dragonborn, but at the same time it integrates to the normal game world. So there are new NPCs around where there were no before, they have new quests, they have new stuff to say, and even for existing characters they have new dialogue options, they have new things to tell you, and in the normal world there are also huge quest lines like who just add something to the main quest line of the original game, and that also means you have to start a new game, so you can't load your old save game from the original game, you have to start over, because yeah, there's added so much and it wouldn't work. So that's an example for a very good add-on. You can check it out. I will also add some footage in the background that you see how that looks. Pretty old game, still pretty amazing game. Yeah, so far about that. So let's talk a little bit about the developer's perspective. I mean, it's very obvious why they do it. It's they want to make more money. But I have to say, nowadays it can be pretty rough to make money with games, especially for smaller developers. Funnily, the ones who make all the DLCs, skins, and so on and so forth are the large companies, and there is most likely a simple reason to it, and that is those companies are huge companies, and that means it's not very driven by one person. It's driven by multiple people or by a kind of an elite. They have quite a lot of money, most likely, and they want to get more money of it, so they invest a lot of money, millions and millions and millions. But that also means that this game has to be successful, otherwise they are completely screwed. And I think that is the point why they say, okay, what is important to make money with the game? That is marketing, of course. So they hire some marketers, and those marketers say, hey, we need to optimize the income we make. Of course, I mean, marketers do that, and that ultimately means, hey, how can we max out the revenue we get? And that is what I do, and that is why all that stuff is there. That is why DLCs are there, that is why skins are there, because the marketer said, hey, we need that. And because I don't really think a developer who wants to make a cool game thinks, hey, that would be fun for the game. I don't think so, really, I don't think so. And I also would like to answer the question if I would do DLCs. And yes, actually, I find the idea of add-ons pretty cool, because especially if I have a game there which is already pretty good and which has a good foundation, and where the graphics are more or less have a good design, so it doesn't get old too quickly. I think that makes total sense to bring add-ons, because this does simply mean that I work on new stuff and then bring it out, and you can enjoy the game you already enjoyed even more. So yes, I think it can be a good idea if you bring out expansions. But what I'm thinking of is really a little larger expansion. I don't want to do a single weapon or stuff like that. That's just boring, and no, just no. I mean, just no. I mean, that's also just works for games like Call of Duty and so on and so forth, because they are already AAA, and you can't do that because a lot of people play it. There is not really an alternative, and so they buy new maps and stuff like that because all of their friends playing it, they are playing it, and there's kind of that, they're kind of forced, maybe not, but they're kind of forced to buy new stuff sometimes at least. And yeah, that's what I would like to do. So I have not really a problem with expansion stuff. And another thing I thought about, but this is a thing you can tell me what you think about, because it's an interesting topic, because I thought I wanted to do something different. And what do you think about a service where I offer that you can kind of hire me, that I create a weapon for you, a custom weapon I then implement to the game, you can then unlock with a special code, and you can then have in the game, you can also share this code with your friends, and they can unlock it so they have a special weapon, and I can do whatever you want, really. And I think that would be a cool thing. I just thought that would be a cool thing to have. But of course, that also means those weapons, those custom weapons, are relatively expensive, because I have to invest quite a lot of time to create the model and to implement it into the game. I don't know if I can really offer that, and this also means I'm kind of limited. I can't do like 300 different sorts in a day, you know? So this is going to get difficult if a lot of people want this service. So that's kind of a problem. So I would need to hire maybe some people who do this for me. And that is what I don't really like. But you can tell me what you think about that kind of stuff. I think it's, at least it's cool. At least it's cool. It would be cool, right? I mean, I would love that. Imagine if Skyrim had that you can like pay them some money and they create a sword for you. I think I would do it. Or something else you can implement, like a new pet. But that actually would be relatively expensive, I guess, because I mean, that's quite a lot of work. And I think that's not really a good idea. So it's only a good idea for things which are not too large. So yeah. So tell me what you think about all this. That was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope I could speak at least fluent enough that you can understand. Because really, I have quite a hard time sometimes to speak English fluently here. Especially if I'm talking freely, which I'm doing right now. In my videos some weeks ago or some months ago, I had actually kind of a script, and now I decided to speak freely, which is relatively difficult and also pretty exhausting for me at times. So I hope this isn't a problem. I think it would be much easier for me to speak in my original language, which is German actually. But I can't, okay, because then most of the people don't understand me anymore. And yeah, but tell me what you think about the whole topic. Tell me what you think about my English, maybe. I don't know. No, don't have to tell me about it. But you can always tell me if I'm talking weird stuff, because sometimes I may use words which make no sense. And I'm also a little bit more stuttering and stuff like that. You may have mentioned that I'm talking a little tiny bit weird. I think it's overall okay, but I think you know what I mean. Okay, but enough waffling here. As always, guys, stay cool and have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.